Gucci walk in the damn studio, bro, with his people, to Draco's. The fucking footage is going to show Pooh Shiesty had one on him, Big 30 had one on him. Only person who really gonna escape from this is the Pops. The Pops did not want none of this to go on. Nigga like this, bro. Gucci look at the dad like, the Pops just head down. You can't tell your son nothing right now. Your son the number one right now. You gonna sign this? Sign the damn papers. And we need that. Wedding ring. Watch. Come about that.
One of the biggest names in rap history, a man who built an entire empire from the ground up, got robbed at gunpoint in a recording studio by his own artist. And that's not even the craziest part, because Pooh Shiesty's dad helped plan the whole thing. Big 30 was there blocking the door so nobody could escape. They flew a whole crew from Memphis to Dallas specifically for this operation. And when it was all over, they posted the stolen Rolex watches on Instagram. Bro, I am not even lying. But here's what y'all need to understand before we get into it. This wasn't random. This wasn't just some beef that popped off. According to the DOJ, this was a calculated, coordinated setup. And to understand why Pooh Shiesty allegedly put a gun in Gucci Mane's face, we gotta go back and break down everything that led to this moment. Stay until the end, because the evidence the feds have on these guys, that's where it gets actually insane. Let me break it down for you real quick, because some of y'all might be sleeping on how big this actually is. Gucci Mane, real name Radrick Davis, is not just a rapper. He is one of the founding fathers of trap music. The man launched more careers than almost anyone in Atlanta history. Waka Flocka, Young Thug, Future, Migos, all of them have credited Gucci Mane as a blueprint. He built his 1017 Records label from scratch, went to federal prison himself, came home, got clean, got in shape, got married, and rebuilt his entire brand into something even bigger. That second chapter for Gucci, that's where Pooh Shiesty enters the picture. Around 2020, Gucci Mane was on a mission to rebuild 1017 records with new talent. He had an eye for raw, authentic energy, and when he heard a young rapper out of Memphis named Lontrell Williams Jr. going by Pooh Shiesty, he knew immediately what he had. Pooh Shiesty had been grinding independently, no label, no cosign, just Memphis energy and internet streams, but it was real, it was catching, and Gucci recognized it. So in April 2020, Gucci Mane signed Pooh Shiesty to 1017 Records, a joint venture with Atlantic Records. And what happened next? That's where the story goes from a regular come-up to something that nobody saw coming, and won. What if I told you that within 6 months of signing, Pooh Shiesty had a top 15 record on the Billboard Hot 100? No cap. November 2020, he drops Back in Blood featuring Lil Durk. It hits number 13. Then he gets featured on Spot 'em Gotham's Beatbox 2, peaks at number 12. 2 top 15 records in his first year signed. Then in February 2021, he drops his debut tape, Shiesty Season. It debuts at number 3 on the Billboard 200 as a debut, from a 20-year-old from Memphis who a year earlier had zero major label backing. Chat, are we surprised Gucci wasn't trying to let this man out of his contract? Because I'm not surprised, not even a little. But here's the other side of this that matters for the story. Pooh Shiesty didn't just bring himself to 1017, he also brought his cousin. Big Scar, real name Alexander Woods, was another Memphis rapper who had been grinding in the streets. Survived a car accident at 16 that left scars on his face. Got shot in the hip in 2020. Bullet traveled up to his chest. Doctors had to split him open to save his life. This man went through it, and Pooh Shiesty took his music and put it directly in front of Gucci Mane. Gucci heard it and signed Big Scar immediately. So now you've got Pooh Shiesty putting on his cousin, his whole Memphis crew has a platform, and Gucci Mane is the man who made all of it possible. This is where it gets complicated, because everything Gucci gave, he also held. And those contract terms, Pooh Shiesty was about to feel them in the worst way. So get this, right in the middle of all that momentum, while Back in Blood is still charming the charts, things start going sideways legally for Pooh Shiesty. October 2020, he and 2 other men allegedly drove to a hotel in Bay Harbor Islands, Florida to buy marijuana and a pair of high-end sneakers from 2 men. According to federal prosecutors, instead of paying, they shot both men and drove off with the goods. Surveillance cameras caught the whole thing, including a lime green McLaren leaving the scene. Then Memorial Day weekend 2021, he allegedly shot a security guard in the leg at the King of Diamonds strip club in Miami during an altercation over money. 2 open felony cases in Florida while he's a rising rap star. July 2021, federal indictment, conspiracy to possess firearms in furtherance of crimes of violence and drug trafficking. A potential life sentence hanging over a 21-year-old rapper with 2 top 15 records. January 2022, he takes a plea deal, pleads guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to possess firearms, gets sentenced to 63 months in federal prison. He goes in at 22 years old, his career on pause, his fans waiting, and his 2017 contract still very much in effect. Bro, that's actually crazy when you think about it. He's behind bars, can't make music, can't tour, can't earn, and Gucci Mane still owns a major piece of his masters and his deal. The contract doesn't pause when you go to prison, it just sits there waiting. And while Pooh Shiesty was sitting in a cell, something happened on the outside that changed everything. Y'all are not ready for this part. December 22nd, 2022. Big Scar, Pooh Shiesty's cousin, the man he personally put on at 1017, the man who survived multiple near-death experiences just to finally get his shot, dies from a drug overdose at his girlfriend's home in Memphis. He is 22 years old. Pooh Shiesty is in federal prison when this happens. Can't be at the funeral, can't be there for the family, just sitting with that grief from behind bars. And then the story coming out of Memphis goes viral, and it is not pretty for Gucci Mane. Big Scar's brother, Quez Ruthless, goes live on Instagram and says Gucci promised to cover the funeral costs and then blocked the family when they called to confirm. He said Gucci told them he couldn't pay for the funeral because his wife's birthday was coming up. Oh my God, bro. But wait, that's not even the part that really hit different on the streets. Quez also said on that live that Gucci Mane asked for the 1017 chain back, the chain he gave Big Scar when he signed him. His artist just passed away. Body's not even in the ground, and allegedly the first order of business was getting the chain back. Big Scar's sister Alexandra confirmed it on social media. Said yes, he asked for the chains back. Said the chains were staying with the family. Now Gucci's team disputed the funeral story. His wife posted receipts showing $20,000 paid to the funeral home, but the total cost was $60,000. And the chain conversation? That one stuck. On the streets, in Memphis, and in a federal prison cell where Pooh Shiesty was sitting with nowhere to go and nothing to do but think. That's his cousin, his blood, the rapper he vouched for. And in the week of that man's passing, the main conversation allegedly became jewelry and funeral expense disputes. No cap, if you're already feeling some type of way about your contract, and then you hear about how your cousin's family got treated, that changes how you see a person. That changes what you're willing to do when you finally get out. Fast forward to October 6th, 2025. Pooh Shiesty walks out of federal prison after serving over 3 years. He's 25 years old and he's hungry. The rap game kept moving without him, but his name still carried weight. He's placed in a residential re-entry program in Dallas, Texas, ankle monitor on, home detention conditions active. He cannot leave without authorization, cannot possess a firearm, cannot commit another crime, any violation, and he goes right back to finish the rest of his sentence plus whatever new time gets added. December 2025. He drops FDO, meaning first day out. It debuts at number 22 on the Billboard Hot 100. Chat, are we surprised? His very first song back and it charts immediately. The fan base is still there. The momentum is real. But here's where it gets crazy. Despite that chart performance, despite the proof that he's still a commercially viable artist, he is still locked into his 1017 deal. And according to everything the DOJ laid out, Pooh Shiesty wanted out of that contract badly. Years in prison feeling trapped under terms he agreed to when he was a teenager, watching his cousin's family go through drama with the label, coming home to find Gucci still holding all the cards. He wanted freedom, and he allegedly decided to get it himself. This is where it goes from a music industry story to a federal kidnapping case. So, get this. According to the DOJ, the plan didn't just involve Pooh Shiesty. His own father was allegedly in on it from the beginning. Lontrell Williams Sr., the man who founded Mob Ties Records in Memphis, the man who rapped as Mob Boss and brought his son into studios as a child, is accused by federal prosecutors of helping plan and execute the entire operation. He allegedly rented the car the group used to move around Dallas. Father and son coordinating a kidnapping together, I kid you not. Then there's the crew. Cell phone records and license plate reader data show multiple defendants traveling from Memphis to Dallas together in the days before January 10th. These people didn't just show up. This was organized movement, coordinated travel, a crew assembled specifically for this. And then there's Big 30, real name Rodney Lamont Wright Jr. childhood friend of Pooh Shiesty, also from Memphis. They grew up together, made neighbors together, are as close as it gets in this industry. But here's the thing. Big 30 is signed to Moneybagg Yo's Bread Gang label, not 1017. He has zero personal beef with Gucci Mane. No contract dispute, no grievances, nothing. He was there for one reason only, because his brother from Memphis called him. Y'all seeing this? A man with his own career, his own momentum, completely outside of this situation. And he shows up anyway, because loyalty. That loyalty is about to cost him everything. So you've got the father coordinating logistics. You've got Memphis members making the drive. You've got Big 30 ready to move, and you've got Pooh Shiesty on an ankle monitor, on home detention, not supposed to leave, not supposed to touch a firearm, getting ready to walk into that studio. January 10th, 2026. Dallas, Texas, a recording studio. Gucci Mane and two other music industry professionals travel to Dallas for what they believe is a contract discussion with Pooh Shiesty. This is presented as a legitimate business meeting. Pooh Shiesty himself arranged it, framing it as a conversation about his recording contract terms. Gucci Mane shows up. He even has off-duty police officers with him as security. Professional, above board, a normal industry meeting. And then Pooh Shiesty and his 8 co-conspirators execute what the DOJ calls an armed takeover. Bro, armed takeover. That's the language the federal government used. Pooh Shiesty pulls out an AK-style pistol, points it at one of the victims, and according to federal prosecutors, forces that person to sign a release from the recording contract at gunpoint. That is what this entire operation was built for. Get those papers signed. Get the freedom. Just allegedly at the end of a Draco instead of through a lawyer. While Pooh handles the contract situation, the rest of the crew draws weapons on the other victims. Rolex watches stripped off, jewelry taken, cash gone. And one victim, according to the DOJ, was choked to the point of near unconsciousness. They have photos of the injuries to the wrist and neck. And Big 30, he's at the door the whole time, physically barricading it so nobody can leave, nobody can call for help, nobody can escape. Under federal law, that makes him just as criminally responsible for everything that happened on the other side of that door. And remember those off-duty police officers Gucci Mane brought for security? They witnessed every single second of it. Trained law enforcement, first-hand eyewitnesses. That's not one civilian account. Those are credentialed law enforcement observations that are now federal witness testimony. What the? Bro, this is actually insane. Here's where it gets really insane, because the feds didn't just have eyewitnesses, they had everything. The ankle monitor Pooh Shiesty was wearing as part of his home detention, it placed him directly at the studio location. His own government-mandated tracking device recorded his presence at the scene of the alleged crime and confirmed he violated his home confinement conditions. No cap, that might be the wildest detail of this entire situation. The monitor that was supposed to keep him in line became one of the main pieces of evidence against him. Then the cell phone records and license plate reader data confirmed the coordinated travel from Memphis to Dallas. Rental car records showed Williams Sr. booked the vehicle the crew used. Surveillance cameras caught activity at the studio, at a nearby office supply store, and at the hotel where multiple defendants stayed afterward. Latent fingerprints recovered from the crime scene matched 2 defendants. And then, word to my mother, within hours of the robbery, multiple suspects were on social media posting the stolen goods. DeMarcus Glover posted pictures of himself wearing the stolen jewelry. Terrence Rogers posted a video showing a Rolex believed to have been taken from the victims. You kidnap Gucci Mane, you rob him at gunpoint, and then you post the Rolexes on Instagram before the sun goes down. Greyhound records then showed multiple defendants catching the bus back from Dallas to Memphis the next day. They took a Greyhound home after robbing one of the biggest names in rap. Those bus records are now federal evidence. Chat, I genuinely cannot make this up. April 1st, 2026. FBI and DOJ coordinate simultaneous takedowns across 3 cities. In Memphis, agents raid the Williams family home in Cordova, Tennessee. Lontrell Williams Sr. is taken into custody there. The father, the alleged planner, arrested at the family house. Pooh Shiesty is arrested in Dallas, the same city where he'd been placed in his residential re-entry program. The man was supposed to be finishing his transition back to normal life. Instead, he got arrested in the city his ankle monitor had been tracking him in for months. Big 30 arrested. 6 other co-conspirators picked up across Dallas, Memphis, and Nashville. 8 of 9 in custody in one day. The 9th, Terrence Rogers, still at large at the time of the press conference. And the charges? Kidnapping, armed robbery, conspiracy. Every single person involved faces up to life in prison upon conviction. Life. Pooh Shiesty had previously avoided a life sentence by taking a plea deal on his earlier firearms case. Now he's looking at potential life again. at 26 years old, 6 months after walking out of prison while still on his ankle monitor. U.S. Attorney Ryan Raybould said it directly at the press conference. This case should serve as a warning to others who believe that using violence and intimidation tactics to rob others in our community is a viable way to conduct business. And that's the full story of how Gucci Mane allegedly got robbed by his own artist, the man he discovered, signed, made a millionaire, and whose cousin he also put on. For real though, think about the full picture here. Gucci gave Pooh Shiesty everything: major label deal, Atlantic Records distribution, a platform that took him from grinding in Memphis to number 3 on the Billboard 200 in under a year. He even signed Pooh's cousin off Pooh's recommendation. And according to the DOJ, Pooh Shiesty's response to feeling stuck in his contract was to fly his Memphis crew into Dallas, recruit his own father as a co-conspirator, recruit Big 30, who had absolutely nothing to do with any of this, and walk into a studio meeting with an AK-style pistol while wearing a government ankle monitor. Big 30 had his own career, his own lane, his own future, and because he showed up for his brother, he is now looking at life in a federal prison. The name has always been Shiesty. His own late brother gave him that name because he felt it described exactly how Pooh moved through the world. And Gucci Mane, one of the most street-experienced figures in the history of this industry, signed that man and put his career in his hands. Some lessons cost more than any recording contract ever could. If you learned something new today, gang, hit that like button and subscribe. We cover the stories the rest of the internet doesn't break all the way down. And if you want the full in-depth documentary on the entire Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane relationship, from the come up to the contract to what happened in that Dallas studio, that video is right here. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.